Okay. Oh man, it's been too long since I was live last. Oh man, I've forgotten so much. I have no idea if the audio quality is any good. Shiza. That is a problem. I don't even know how to check. One sec. Come over here. Yeah, it looks okay. I'm gonna go with it's working just fine. I need to modify my microphone. All right. Yeah, that's good. Okay. Um, so a little bit different from live streams in the past. I am working on a new project using ClockSpring to automate a online API open to the public kind of thing called Space Traders. And I'm doing this because I want to explore how ClockSpring works. I want to work on my ability with APIs. I want to. Oh, thanks, Bit. I was really worried about the audio quality. I want to work on my understanding of the entire stack. So a number of years ago, I worked in data management and server management, and we learned everything about LAMP stack and LAP stack and all these other things. But that's just the web server side. And on the screen right now, you guys are seeing the web server, right? Well, your end of the web server. And this is built on LAMP and LAP because this data is actually being served by Postgres and not MySQL. But that's only one of the three tiers, right? Using a conventional three-tier system, this is the data presentation tier. The data storage, we're using Postgres, already said that. But my data application tier, the transport tier, if you will, is a tool called ClockSpring. ClockSpring was developed by a friend of mine, Adam Gort. He runs ClockSpring, and he has manhandled the hell out of Apache NiFi to bring it to its current state, and it allows us to do a lot of really neat things now that the Apache NiFi solution by itself couldn't do, right? And so that's over here, and I'll probably need to refresh the page regularly. I'm running on a tiny 2-core 2 gig box, a sliver of a machine that was given to me for this purpose, and so it can be a little bit chunky, if you will. Audio is good, video is good. Bit, are you there? Just check that right quick while that's loading. I'm going to load Discord. For what it's worth, Bit, I am live in Discord as well in the traditional live channel. I have no idea if that's working or not, but okay. Yeah, I see your direct. Let's swing over here. Yeah, that's right. That's right. We're gonna jump back in here. And that's okay. All right. So do we have ClockSpring yet? We do have ClockSpring. Cool. So this is ClockSpring. Let me get back out to the main page that I've created here. I have been slowly cleaning this up to make it so that it's presentable. So the farther down we dig, the less clean it gets. All right. This is where the meat and the potatoes are in the system, and everything runs through our the proxy here. We created the proxy because there is a rate limit for space traders, and I wanted to ensure that the information went out at a certain interval that didn't cause me to get a bunch of errors. And so once we drill down in here, we can actually see the primary queue. We're currently sitting at 790 requests through total, 783 of which are new. That's up here in this guy. My bad. That's up here in this guy here. 780 new means we're making 156 requests per minute. Theoretical limit is 180 due to the fact that we have 2 per second plus a 10 per 10 second burst. So it's about 3 a second. I am purposely throttling back to 348 as opposed to 334 milliseconds because I don't want to get a bunch of 429s. 429s is when the server's like, hey, you've used too much of your rate, and we're going to throttle you now by not responding to your request and instead giving you this error code, 429 error code. We still want to, whatever request made the 429, we still want that request to go through, so we just send it back through at a higher priority and into the chunky hole up to 793, so almost up to 160 requests per minute. So that's what that looks like. Let's bounce back out. All the ships have, well, all the ships currently, there's a lot of different ships I have, and that would be a problem. I need to fix that. Okay, audio's back. All the ships that I currently have an automation, okay? And we do that through this orchestration. The orchestrator says, hey, you're a ship of certain type and a certain status, therefore I want you to go do this thing. The action groups are out here on the sides in this darker purple color. So I can trade, I can survey, I can scan markets and shipyards, and my satellite likes to hang out at the shipyard, so my automated ship purchasing and equipping tools all work. My excavators mine until they're mostly full, and then they go sell their stuff. And then there's some error handling where we purge the cargo in case there's a glitch and one of the excavators ends up with some cargo that isn't necessarily sold at the waypoint it's at, and so forth and so on. A lot of granular detail goes into this, but everything starts with the orchestrator. And so we'll just pull that open right quick. We create a flow file. NiFi works on flow files. Flow files are the equivalent of an object with no methods or variables or anything. It's just an empty object running through the system. And then we execute an SQL script that says, hey, show me all ships that aren't currently active, that are automated. And it creates a flow file for each one of those ships. So each ship becomes its own object through the system, and it acts independently of all the other ships. So we get some asynchronous programming mojo going on here pretty quick right out of the gate. Second process in. Each one of these blue boxes represents a code snippet. Okay, they're called processors, and they do a small bit of code, and they're constantly handing variables to the next guy. And so we can fork, right? So that's what happens down here. We change the flow name to the ship name, and so now there's a bunch of flows running through the entire system, and when I open up the flow view, I can see where ship tipsyraven 1 is hiding out in the flows, right? But we also do a couple other things. We make sure the sector we're in, system, thanks Star from Space Traders Discord, the system we're in is fully scanned, so I know what all the waypoints are and what all their traits are. I make sure that ship takes a second and refreshes itself, because I can cause commands to happen through the API and other places, and those may not update my databases that control these ships. So before the ship gets to go do anything, it needs to know what its current and actual payloads are. And then we go ahead and we set the ship as active, right? Okay, ship's active. The main script can't pick it up again when the script runs 10 seconds later or whatever the interval is. We perform a sleep so that all these things can happen before we shoot the ship off to orchestration, and then we sort on roll. We have excavators, we have command ships, we have surveying ships, we have satellites, and we have haulers. Excavators, the very first thing they do is purge their cargo, and then after cargo is cleared, they get to go mining. Okay, they fill up half of their hold or more, depending on how much they can get, and then they exit that routine and drop back into this orchestration via this guy here. They perform a check to make sure they're not equipped with all the outfitting they need. If they are, they get to go do the next thing. If they're not, they go get that outfit that they need. Satellite scanning is pretty simple. Satellite, first thing it does is check to see if there's any scan dates in the market that aren't updated. And if there's not any markets that haven't been scanned recently, it heads off to the shipyard, the local shipyard in that system, and parks, waiting for commands like buy new ship. If there is a market that needs to be scanned, it goes and scans it, and then it comes back to this orchestrator. So it'll go through all the markets, and when it's done scanning markets, it'll drop into the shipyard park there. Traders, they check their cargo status. If they have cargo coming into the orchestrator, I don't know where that cargo is from. It's not part of my most ideal trading path. So I have them go and sell whatever it is they have to the best market. Sometimes I have ships that end up with items that I'm not expecting, and this is a soft way to handle those kinds of scenarios before they go off to trading. Okay. Let's take a look at trading right quick, and then we're going to start making some stuff. Trading is an automation for haulers and my command ship, or whatever the ship that has a cargo hold that I want to have do this. It comes into the system over here in the setup trading scenario, and it starts right here in this little input port. The first thing it does is update the ship table to say what its last orders are, when those orders were set. And I have a snippet of code that says, hey, look, if a ship hasn't done anything for like 15 minutes, something's not right. Let's go ahead and recycle that ship. Orchestrator picks it up, realigns the database, tosses it back in the orchestration. We go to the database and we find the best trade. Okay, so there's a script running in the background that says, hey, trade table or trade goods table, show me all your items, group on the specific item type, show me the best purchase price, show me the best sell price, tell me where those two things are, and I create a possible trade table that my haulers can utilize. If there is a possible trade with a price greater, a profit greater than 10 credits per unit, okay, hauling 60 units, that's 600 credits at the minimum, which covers my cost of fuel, if nothing else, so I don't accidentally drive myself into negative credits. The system navigates to go get the item, and when it does, it goes ahead and purchases it, and then it updates that to the database table. One second, excuse me. Ooh, good grief. And it records the transaction to the database, it updates the cargo in the ship, it updates the cargo units on the ship table, it does a bunch of things. Once we have that cargo on hand, we navigate to wherever the drop point is, and then we sell that item, and we record all that to the table. The very last thing we do is we check to see if the ship is still automated, and if it's not automated, we set its active status to false so that the flight deck operations in the website can pick the ship up. If it is still automated, the trade is finished, and in this case what we do is we have a trading table. Oh, wait, my mistake. That's orchestration. Trade is finished, and so we have this back to trade where it's coming from that trade is finished. It checks to make sure there's no cargo. Well, obviously it just sold all of its cargo, so this really only captures ships coming into the orchestration, assuming they have any cargo when they come in. Otherwise it just drops right back into trading and goes and does the next best trade. And Crystal, I'm having a fantastic day. Thank you for asking. I don't know if you're watching the stream or not, but I think you are. So anyways, that is a snapshot of the automation. We have a ship that is not currently automated, so we're back on the website. This website will not show you all these buttons unless you're logged in from a specific IP address. Sorry. It is more or less for me to fix objects in the system that are not currently working correctly. And I've been building in features as fast as I can that reflect the Space Traders API. There are 2 new things which I hope to do in this video with you guys watching, showing you how that all comes together. It will use both the data presentation tier. We'll be looking at literal PHP code together, and it will be using ClockSpring. The database tables are hopefully already set up to handle what we're trying to do next. So let's look at that. We have tipsyraven 1, the command ship. It is available because it is not currently automated. If I was to click automate, this ship would drop into ClockSpring, and let's see, it would, where's command currently going? Here's command. It's currently going and doing surveys. So if I clicked automate, tipsyraven 1 would drop into surveying, and it would perform at least 1 survey, at the end of which we'd check to see if it's still automated, i.e. I turned it back off or not on the website, and then it become available to me again. In this case, we have some quick access stuff. We can launch, dock, refuel, navigate. We can scan markets and shipyards. A lot of these things are free, so we'll just do that right quick so you guys can see it. Scan market, command resolved. The ship scanned the market it was located at, and we get the data package from the API at Space Traders with all the stuff going on at that particular market. We can do the same thing. Oops. That's an error I gotta fix. This particular market, or this particular waypoint, is the shipyards also. So we can also scan the shipyards. So let's do that right quick. And then so we get the history of this location, what types of ships are available right here. This is what we can buy here. We can see that I'm the one buying all the ships at this particular area. I like to instantiate my user in places where other people aren't, so that I'm not fighting market variables of other people also fighting markets. Otherwise, I got to increase my scanning interval, and that burns some API calls. And then the API goes ahead and like defines a bunch of stuff about each ship, so you know what the ships are before you ever buy them, so on and so on, whatever. These commands are in fact updating the database. Let's come over here and take a look at that right quick. So we have this web server API interface. 1 second. Who are you? Oh, it's James. So let me bring this back. Okay. So we have this web server API interface, and in here we're accepting certain requests, and we're routing based on the URI provided by that request. And these are all the different things we can do. We can respond with, hey, you didn't ask me to do anything, so I'm going to tell you, you didn't tell me to do anything. We can get my agent data. We can orbit and dock the ship. We can refuel the ship. We can navigate to another location. We can force the ship to refresh in the database. This way I can manually fix the automation of a ship if it gets glitched out somehow. I can set it automate false, refresh it, do a couple of things, put it back right, turn its automation back on. We can mine with the ship. We can perform a survey with the ship. We can also scan shipyards, markets. We can sell cargo and buy cargo. And for those of you who are curious, we're going to mount and unmount equipment to ships, hopefully before the end of this video. But like I was saying, we can, scan markets. So let's look at that right quick. So a request comes in to scan the market. We get the attributes out of the data package for the request. For simplicity, I went all post and just make it easy on myself. And then I do a little kung fu with some attributes in order to get them so that they're ready to be requested. We perform a call to the market, which goes through our proxy, which is like right here. Let me So we send it to our proxy URL as opposed to directly to the API. We can do both. I set it up to do either. I just don't like sending commands unless they go through the proxy, because if I start sending a lot of commands, I want them to be rate controlled, right? And here's why we had to do some attribute mojo. We had to get the sector we want to scan and the waypoint we wanted to scan. And so I think I'm actually extracting the sector from the waypoint. And again, to a point someone made in Discord earlier, system, not sector. Just silly mistake I've been making. The first thing we do off this, we fork a bunch, but we send, yeah, what's up? Excellent, thank you. We send the response from the API call back to the browser. Get it in the browser right away, because the curl has a timeout that's pretty tight. And so even though I'm going to do a bunch of other stuff, I'm going to let the browser know that you got a response. But that said, I am going to do those other things too. I'm going to get that market JSON. I'm going to strip out all the bad characters that SQL doesn't like, and then I'm going to write that market JSON, the whole block. I'm just going to write it right to my waypoints table so I have it. I'm also going to go ahead, and this is a new thing I'm doing, where I clear the old market data as related to that market from the trade goods table. So I have a trade goods table that says, here's all the different things that all the different markets make available. So when I scan a market, purge all known information about that market, and then replace it after 1 second. I'm going to split each of those JSON elements into its own flow file, and then that flow file is going to write itself to the table. And so now I have a nice big data table full of trade goods, which is taking place all the way down here. So here's the problem. We go to mount, and there is nothing here. It is an empty canvas. And I promised you some PHP. We come over here. This is our code that we're using. Yeah, you can see all of this. I got to be careful because I think I've obfuscated all of the passwords and encrypted them and did all that stuff, but I suppose if somebody spots a password, they'll tell me and I'll have to change it. This snippet of code is one of the bulkiest. I could probably come up with a way to make this more refined. But right here, these require files are actually where all the goodies are hiding. So if page lock is good, i.e. I'm connecting with the right IP address, I want to go ahead and get all of my variables from the URL that I came here with. And in this case, here's the block for survey, right? And survey says, here's some screen output, whatnot. I create a data package, assuming there's no error, i.e. I make sure the variable's populated. I'm not actually checking to see if the variable is a variable I can use. It's just, is it populated? If it is populated, let's go ahead and create a data package based on that variable. In this case, the name of my ship. And I'm going to encode that as JSON, and then I'm going to send that to my curl. This is a standard curl like any other you've seen in PHP, so I'm not going to get into that unless somebody asks specifically. And then I go ahead and spit that information back out. Right here we're saying, hey, we did the command. We surveyed the location. We give a little extra syntax, and then we actually include the response from the curl. And I have to do that because two reasons. If the command comes in faulty, I need to see the error code, and I'm also collecting all the API responses that I can as a library of information. And then we go all the way down to the bottom. And if we don't send it a good command, it's like, hey, look, you screwed up. And then we hit some buttons here to back out to the page we were on, the fleet page or the ship page. And then we go ahead and we Oh, if you try to access this page with the wrong IP, it'll tell you, hey, look, you're not authorized to do the thing. And yes, it does actually record the IP addresses of people that are accessing it, just in case. And then I do a modular approach to my templates. So I have another file that has the header section and the footer section. And then you can see here we've been creating body material all along, which is what writes our HTML for us. Yeah, so we need to be able to process the mounting of equipment or the unmounting of equipment. In fact, we're going to do unmount first. And we're going to probably do something like... Oh, okay. Thank you, Bit. I will scroll slower. If you want to, if those of you who are playing along with the stream, I created a feature for you because this ultimately is meant to serve as a portfolio of my stack. Okay. In this case, the 3-tier stack, the database tier, the application tier, the UI tier. And so I have a way for those of you that are looking in on this from wherever you are to actually go to the website and click LAMP Web Server in the menu, and then you can click on Fleet right here, and it shows you the code on your end, so you don't have to look at my screen, and you can actually look at all this code as it exists on the server at the time you click it. Okay, so this is a live feedback. For those of you that are getting excited, you can type in db.php and it will tell you no. If you want to see db.php, and yes, there's all kinds of escapes and all kinds of stuff, you're welcome to white hat my server. Please tell me. I will celebrate your awesomeness with you. But if you type in db filtered, you should be able to see that file. For those of you that are curious about the security of this, it forces you to only load from this directory, strips out all .. shenanigans. I'm sure there's something else I forgot, but you can only load out of the public HTML root, and even then it will double check the file names for certain files that I don't want you reading the connection strings out of. But back to the point. You can, Bit, if you're listening along, you can actually see the fleet.php code. Now, granted, you have to wait for me to upload it if I make changes to it here. So what's really fun is once you actually get going on this stuff, you can actually copy and paste a lot of material. And because I'm copying and pasting this, I can't help but imagine there's probably a good way to write a function that will do this, or at least a large piece of this. But we'll get there. Unmount component. We need to know the ship we're unmounting it from, but we also need to know what we're unmounting. So we're going to copy this error line, and we need the item symbol that's being stripped. And we're going to drop that there. We're going to say no item provided. We're going to curl to unmount. We're going to say command resolved, unmount, equipment. And we're going to say ship blah, 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 blah has removed, escape out, do that. And we want to pass it the item symbol. So there we go. There's all the text on the screen. But before we get too far away from ourselves, we also need to pass registration name and item symbol. Okay. So just like that, we have written the PHP interface for unmounting equipment. So a ship can send command unmount with its registration name and the item it wishes to unmount to this page, and it should be picked up by ClockSpring, at which point it should unmount the equipment. All right, but we got to get to this page, right? So we're going to save this. We're going to come over here to ship. Yes, the only place I can unmount things are from the ship view, so I only have to modify this one page. This page has a mount table. There's the module table. Here's the mount table. Here's the link to unmount right here. Okay. We're going to find something easy to find right there. I do a lot of copy and paste. Once I get it to work, I just go with it. I need a 2-item table, which is that much. And so I'm grabbing a link here that calls the functions.php. That's the flight deck functions table. It's got a command, it's got an item symbol, and it's got another variable that we're going to say is the ship symbol in a second. We got to go back up here to those x's, x, there it is. And we're going to drop that in there. We need the item symbol, but we need the actual item symbol. So the mount symbol is this variable. We want to pass it that guy. So there we go. And then we need registration name, which is the name of the ship. And that is this variable here, which needs to go in this variable space. Voila. So now our unmount button on the website, if we are connected from the right IP, and we are docked, and we are docked at a location that has a shipyard. Those are the requirements for mounting and unmounting. We go ahead and show them this button, and this button will now take you to the functions table. Oh, unmount. It will send a command unmount to that functions table with the item symbol and the registration name, which is fantastic. That's what we needed to do. We're going to save that. We're going to come back over here to functions. So unmount, unmount component. I just realized we're going to have to do some cargo table mojo. Because if we unmount something, it falls into our cargo table as opposed to our mount table. And I don't currently have a copy pasta for that. So we get to see me do some ClockSpring from scratch. All right, so unmount. So our URI is unmount, which we just fixed. We are getting the registration name of the ship. We're getting the item symbol of the mount that we want to remove. We're prepping that in the data being passed to the curl, and the text is all good. Okay, great, perfect, beautiful. Let's go ahead and take all that and drop it up on the database or on the web server. So now those code changes should reflect in those highlight links for you all. All right, great. Dinner is on the table, but I don't want to walk away from this until I close the loop on the unmount feature. So that's all done. We're back to the web server. We should be able to go to Fleet, view our tipsyraven 1. We are docked at an orbital station. This orbital station has a shipyard. So we see the unmount buttons. And here we can see that the URL being provided to us is command equals unmount, symbol equals mount sensor array 1, and the registration name is tipsyraven 1. So that all looks good. I believe dinner is a roast bit. I'm pretty sure dinner is a roast. And I do not want to offend my hosts. I'm currently hanging out in Missouri at the girlfriend's parents' house. She's in California. She just flew to California today, which is why I have the freedom to geek out with you guys over some software shenanigans. Yeah, super good. I think we're going to go ahead and try to unmount this mining laser 1. Okay, now we can't do that yet because we have to come over here and solve this. So we create an input port. This is how one processor can get to another inside of a group. So you can put a process group inside of a process group recursively until I don't know what limit, but I only go 1 or 2 deep. Unmount is the port name. Never, for whatever reason, it always asks if you want to save your, and it's not like you're giving it credentials. We have to stop our router. We have to open that guy up, go to properties, and we need to grab the request URI code, add unmount. And so what we're saying here is on routing property unmount, if the URI of the request equals /unmount, which we just told that PHP code to do, we're going to route to this specific location. We're going to apply that. We can see our little process goes, hey, there's a problem. I have a possible relationship that's not populated, and my unroute relationship isn't populated, in fact. Well, we take this little blue arrow here, and we click and drag that down to unmount. Oh, did I really? I did. Oops, my bad. We put the unmount in the mount. Let's fix that right quick. Paste. Okay, and lead group. Okay, so there's unmount in actual unmount, and we click and drag that down here, and we tell it, hey, any requests that are unmount URI, we want to send down to our unmount process group. And then let's click and drag this guy down here, follow my theme, my layout. And then let's do some line correction here just to make some room for myself to work. Okay, cool. So now let's start this back up. I always forget to start this router back up, and my requests end up sitting here waiting. So now we are sending a request from our PHP code on the web server to our ClockSpring server. And then the ClockSpring server is listening to specific ports that the PHP scripts are being sent to, and it is then handling that here. And we have this unmount. So the first thing we do is we come in here and we extract attributes. And since I'm going to build this from scratch, we're just going to do it from scratch. So we're going to add a processor for extract attributes. We're going to do that. And what this does is it allows us to take the values in our flow file and bring them down into attributes of that flow. So we need the registration name, which I usually put a period between the two on ClockSpring, and that is JSON path registration name without the space or a period or underscore. And I also need the item symbol. So item dot symbol path item symbol. So now we are getting that. What that does is it allows us to grab, should actually be able to, here, we'll throw some dummy ports on this right quick. We'll yeet the failures off to one side, and we'll bring a success down here. And there's our success. Okay, so now, and never. Now we'll start this up, and this is complaining because oh, I know what's wrong. Wrong processor type. Evaluate JSON path. There we go. I'm staring at it going, what? Why is it not working? Go away. Wrong. Bing, failure, matched, and never path, add item dot symbol is item symbol, and registration dot name is equal to registration name, no dot. apply. Ha! Now it can be started. So what's really fun is now that we can do that, we should be able to send a request to unmount something and have it appear. Why is it opening in its own tab? There must be something hiding in here. Target blank. Derp, derp, derp. We don't want that. That does not serve us. I need to figure out where that target blank is hiding and get rid of it. All right, we'll upload that fix later because it's a minor problem at best. It's processing because we don't have a response yet, but here we go. Look at there. We have a queued flow that came from our PHP script just now, and we're going to go ahead and list the queue, and we're going to take a look at it. Okay, and we're going to take the eyeball and click the eyeball, and here we go. Here's that JSON that we parsed on the PHP, and we can see registration name and item symbol. If we go down into our actual attributes for the flow file, we can see that we don't have those yet. There is no registration name. There is no item name, right? It's missing here. And we need those variables in the attributes group in order to do anything. So we go ahead and say, sure, run, do the thing. And hey, it works. It's always nice when it works. Definitely when you're live on the internet. So we're going to list the queue, and the JSON is still hiding out in the flow file text, but now we open up this guy here, and we can see that we have a registration name variable to work with, and we have an item symbol to work with, which is fantastic. We need both of those things. So let's kill that, and we need remove mount. We need the text that allows us to remove a mount, and it is the ship symbol and remove, and then we pass the string of the item we want to remove in a data block. So we can do all this. All right, so we need to prep a flow file with that text in it. So replace text. If I was being particularly smooth, I would have passed the JSON with this symbol as opposed to item symbol, and then the flow file would have been pre-prepared with what's in the PHP. But in this case, we want to create a translation for it. So replace text, and we want to always replace. Okay, and we want to replace it with oops, you got to use shift click to add. There we go. It needs to be in what format? Quote label. Okay, still learning JSON. Symbol quote, and then colon quote quote, and then to put the variable in here we need a $, a couple of brackets, and then we type in item dot symbol. There we go. So now if we pass that flow to replace text, okay, we can now change that text in the flow file text to show that failure success. I need failures to go over here. This is my failure bucket. So now we can run that guy, and it'll do the thing, hopefully. Hey, look at that. So now we list the queue, and we have this JSON, which is reflective of this expected body section found over here. Cool. And then for those of you watching, or after we've gone live here for a while, I could be copying and pasting this from other places. I'm building it manually, which is slowing me down a lot, but this would have been done in 20-30 seconds if I did it the very manual way. And I say that because I'm about to do the most annoying one yet. Invoke HTTP. We have all the information we need. We just need to pass it to Space Traders now. So let's do that. And invoke HTTP has a whole mess of different things it can do. We'll tell it to retry on itself. We're going to fail bucket all things failure and no retry. We're just going to yeet those. We need to send it to a specific URL, which we haven't populated yet, so it's complaining about that. Responses we need to handle somehow, and the URL is inaccurate, so we're going to fix that. We're using a pound symbol for this variable because this is a parameter context. This is a global variable that we set, and that just happens to be the URL of the proxy itself, which is a local host thing. I can't remember. Here, hold up. I need to check one that I already have written. I think there's a slash. Let's check this one. Yeah, there's no slash. Okay, no slash. Got it. Cool. My microphone fell over. Okay, there we go. Back to normal. All right, so go in here, go in here, go in here. We need my/ships/name/mount/remove. On a pile of derp. And annoyingly, they don't let you copy and paste it. Maybe I can get it down here. Hey, there we go. Copy. Again, with the microphone falling down. Hopefully I can have a better setup for this next time I go live. I don't know where my tripod mounts for my microphones are. All right. Yes, brain, back to normal. So my/ship/ship symbol, which is now registration.name. Okay, apply. Now it's going to probably complain because there's no parameter context for how do we handle this. There will be an entire separate video as to how parameter contexts work, but long story short, we need to add a resource. The parameter context right here, we need to point it at our Space Traders global API list, or a global variable list. And it should stop complaining. It did. So we have a red light, which means if I hit the green light right now, it would do this thing, and I don't want it to, not yet. So I'm not going to. The one thing I am going to copy, simply because I do not want to have to recode it, is the HTTP response. So we can get that from anywhere. It's got all the parameters already set in it, and I just don't want to have to write it again. Paste. Bing. And we're going to send our response here. Okay. What's set in here? Well, the context map is the thing that's all written out here, and I don't want to have to rewrite the context map. So here we go. I'm going to delete this flow because we have long since timed out our request, right? This 503 that didn't hear back from the ClockSpring API source. So we already know it's junkified. I made a small change where it won't open in a new tab. I'll get that over in here. Okay. Oh. Socket read timeout 60 minutes. My proxy can be fussy. These guys should never ever wait 60 minutes because the web server will never wait 60 minutes, but it's just one of those things I've been setting universally across all my invokes. The other thing is we're going to add priority, and we're going to set it to 15. And that means this request from the web server will be handled before any other request in the automation. And that's because I have like 100-something ships slamming away at the API, and I don't want their activities to block the website from functioning, right? So the website gets to walk to the front of the line. basically what it's doing. So we'll apply that. We'll start this. We'll start this. And we'll refresh this. And we're going to, one time for the money, unmount the mining laser 1. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no, where'd it go? Ah, we have a failure. We have a failure. Okay. Well, we get to debug a little bit here. List the queue. And I don't know which one of these requests it just made. Oh, this request is like 10 minutes old. This one's 30 seconds. Okay, so this is the one we care about. We open this guy up and we can look. We can look and see what we're doing here. That URL looks good. Oh. Oh, I'm missing my API token. Of course I am. I forgot to pass my API token because I made that particular invoke from scratch. Let's go grab the code that grabs my API token for me, which should be hiding in here. Yeah, it's that one. Okay, copy that. Okay, that. Leave the group. Unmount. Drop back into unmount. Go on in there. Come on, I believe you. So part of the problem is not only am I programming in ClockSpring, but ClockSpring is also slamming away with 13 active threads and 313 flow files, and it's trying to automate all those ships, and so sometimes it gets a little fussy pants. We're going to refresh ClockSpring. Yeah, I knew that. Okay, properties, stop and configure. Come down here to authentication, and we need to authenticate our connection. Oops, that is not right. We need the bearer token. Okay, and the bearer token is our variable that we have hiding there. We start this up. Let's clear all these queues, these errors, so we can find. Okay, here's our 503. We can probably get back to the ship pretty easily. Yes, we did. Okay, good. All right, third try, unmount. We can see the flow is here. It's being processed. That's what this active thread here is referring to. So we're waiting for the proxy to respond to the request that this just sent. And we're waiting. And we're waiting. Shouldn't be waiting this long. This is the problem with programming these from scratch. There's always one little weird, silly thing I forget to set or something. Still waiting. I wonder if the proxy's having troubles. Let's go find out. Q4. It's probably one of these 4 waiting to go in. Or. Nope, no errors out of any of the requests. There's our timeout. Now what sucks is the website's going to be like, hey, I timed out and I didn't do the thing. And meanwhile, the flow is still good. And so it's actually going to do the thing just on its own time. Let's silly microphone. Okay. Why are you being a pain in my butt? Oh yeah, it's still trying to go. I wonder why it's having an issue. Priority 15. Let's do this. Let's just grab one that we know works. Copy. Leave group. Drop back in here. Right click, paste that guy in. There it is down here. No, we're not going to bother with that yet. All right, this did not work. So stop, terminates, clear all the queues, empty the queues. Thank you. We're going to grab this snippet of code, which we copied from the website. Apply, okay. Come down here, my ship's registration. We're going to extract, we're going to replace the word extract with this. Get rid of the double slash. All the other settings are already, oh. I was probably sending a get and not a post. Yep, that's the problem. Found it. I can fix this one without all that extra work. Okay, hit start. And let's go back to the ship. And let's try for the 4th time to unmount this mining laser 1. Bang, there it goes. Now, we have unmounted it. It is most certainly unmounted. Oh, look, it gives me a cargo table. It does, doesn't it? No, it doesn't. Yeah, it does. Right here, symbol units 1. So what I need to do is I need to copy my cargo table handling to this function and make it update the cargo now that the mount is missing. And I also need to update my mount table to remove this mount from this ship in the data table. So I got 2 different SQL writes that I have to fix up. But if we go back to Fleet, we can see how this isn't working entirely yet. We hit view, and according to the database, that laser is still there, right? But we can fix this really fast by going to functions.php question command equals realign tipsy1. So tell me everything there is to know about that ship and write it to the database correctly. And this is what I have to do. I have to do the realign. But I don't want to make an API call to do it. I want to set the database up since we already asked. And we view, and there is no mining laser in the mounts, which is fantastic news. That means that worked. And more importantly, there is a mining laser chilling in the cargo table. And here we have that mount button waiting to happen so that we can put it back on the ship where it belongs. So fantastic. I'm going to wrap the video here. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with me and seeing how this entire process works. If you have any questions at all, my Discord channel link at the bottom of this video probably still works. It's been a long time since I was live last. Sorry, my people. But by all means, come by and hit me up in my Discord, ask questions, all that stuff. Life is good.
Can I water that plant?
You most certainly can.
I can't because you have the chair. Will you water it sometime today?
I will water your plant sometime today. There was a problem with the server. I wonder if Nope, we're still good. So anyways, thank you so much, everyone, for hanging out and, asking questions and doing the thing. Hit me up in Discord, respond, comments on this video. Everything's welcome. If you have any questions about ClockSpring or whatever, just hit me up. If you want to know more about the game itself, because it is an actual game and people are actually playing it. Last I checked, let's see, a little blog cred here right quick. We'll head over to the metrics table. So this is very Star Trek LCARS inspired metrics table showing my my performance. My ships on average are doing 4.7 credits across all 103 ships. So I'm sure there's some ships that are doing better than others. I want to put this information available on each of the ship pages too, so I can see which ships are doing better than others. It allows me to know which outfits work better. But I can click My Agent. I don't know who wrote this, but whoever you are, you're freaking awesome. I think it's Lenny. I'm not 100% sure, but at the time of the recording of this video, I'm sitting in 4th place on the server. So pretty awesome. I have no idea how I'm going to catch Earwing or Captain No One. I don't know what those guys are doing. Or girls. I think Earwing's a lady. And you can see that my blue is... I'm pacing. Looks like Captain Noon is doing some... that's going up and down. Maybe they're trying a new trading routine or something. But this website's really neat because it shows a change over time. And here's Earwing up here at 539 per 10 minutes, and here I am down here at 229k per 10 minutes. So no hope in hell of ever catching them, but perfectly happy at 4th place on the server right now. So yeah, there's everything. Like I said, hit me up, ask questions, do the thing. I'm going to get some dinner, and then I'm going to make it so that I can put that laser back on the ship where it belongs. Thank you so much. I'll see you guys next time.